The Steelers are back into the playoffs, and today we're covering all angles of their first-round matchup in frigid Buffalo, New York. Can Mason Rudolph continue his winning ways? How can the Steelers stop Josh Allen? And how will rookies like Joey Porter Jr. react to the spotlight that is the NFL playoffs? We'll answer those questions and more right here on BetMGM Steelers Kickoff. We're live on KDKA TV.
Welcome to BetMGM Steelers Kickoff.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome inside the KDKA studios for another edition of Steelers Kickoff. Alongside the quarterback of the program, Mr. Charlie Batch, I'm Bob Pompeani. Rich Walsh and Gerry Dulac are still here, and they're going to be joining us shortly in the studio. But first, let's address the top story of the weekend in Buffalo. You'll take a look at this tweet that came from Buffalo Twitter site from last night, and man, it was coming down pretty good, as you can see, in Western New York. So after tough considerations by all parties involved, the NFL and the state of New York decided to postpone the game today in favor of Monday 4:30 due to severe travel concerns. There was some unreported or inaccurate information, we'll hear from Gerry, about moving this thing to Atlanta, but the decision was finally made just to move the date. So this was the scene at Highmark Stadium, as you saw, and we'll have more information coming up on this game tomorrow at 4:30. Our coverage will begin with a special newscast at 3 o'clock leading into the NFL today on CBS. And now a live look at Orchard Park, and the stadium is there. Jerome Williams, he is our photographer on the scene. He's up there somewhere, and trust me, there's a stadium there somewhere. You just can't see it. That's how bad it's been, as they got over a foot of snow overnight and more expected today. So Charlie Batch, the question is, did anything like this ever happen to you as a player? And what are some of these Steeler players now thinking about the confusion, the delay? Does it affect them in any way?
Yeah, I think when you're looking at the snow, nothing personally happened. But I think in 2012, my final season here, Hurricane Sandy went up through New York. And I remember as we were getting ready to prepare to leave, the power went out in the hotel. And Mike Tomlin said, there's no way that we're going to New York and then have to worry about working off of a generator. We ended up staying here in Pittsburgh. We flew up to New York first thing that morning, played that game, we ended up winning it. So that was the closest thing that I actually had to it. But any time that you change the schedule, because all athletes are creatures of habit, right? But you now go with the uncertainty, because right now you don't know if you're leaving today, you don't know what the game looks like. So it definitely is going to impact from a routine standpoint.
And coaches are really subject to that.
Yes.
I mean, they have a routine they love to keep to, but that's not going to be the case. So we showed you a live shot of what's happening in Buffalo through our live shot earlier. This is the current radar, and snow is still falling. Orchard Park, at least a foot of snow so far. Some road closures have been reported around there. This snow will continue the rest of the day. Felicia Wood has just told us that from the KDK Weather Center. So it should taper off sometime tomorrow. It's not going to stop, but it'll taper off, which leads us to Rich and Gerry, who are standing by here in the cozy confines, soon to be in the elements. Guys, take it away.
Well, guys, we should have been there. I don't know if you would have seen us after that video right now. We would have been there somewhere in that video. So we found out yesterday around noon. I got the phone call. Obviously, you were one of the first people that I talked to. You were on your way up there. But can you take me through the process? I think this decision should have been made the night before, but it was made the day of. So what do you know about how it happened?
Well, Rich, the New York governor, maybe could have done that the night before, but when she decided to shut down basically that area, she then was in discussion with Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner. She had made the decision, and then that's why they made the decision to move it to Monday at 4:30, and we'll see if that time still sticks. But what was happening is the Steelers found out yesterday during their walkthrough practice, which they always have the day before a game, and as soon as they found that out, Mike Tomlin stopped the practice and says, look, we'll just do our walkthrough tomorrow. They are now treating this game like a Monday night game as far as their routine. They are now having their walkthrough and meetings as we speak, and they're scheduled to leave this afternoon, and we'll see if that goes through as planned.
Fingers crossed. So I was actually getting ready to go to the airport. You were actually on the road. So how did that, and now you're back here. So what happened to your travel plans?
Well, Rich, we got about most of the way to Erie. We got as far as Conneaut Lake when we found out about the postponement. And so at that point, we pulled off and decided, okay, do we want to go forward? I'd already switched hotels to go to a Red Roof Inn near the stadium, so I was closer. And then we thought, okay, what if we go there and the winds and the snow knock out the power? you know, it's not exactly like I'm sitting in the Marriott in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And so anyway, you know, we thought we're not going to sit around 2.5 hours. 2.5 days, we decided to turn around and come home. We'll go up tomorrow morning.
Yeah, you're leaving tomorrow morning. I'm leaving in a couple hours with the Steelers at 3 o'clock, guys.
Well, safe travels to you both. All right, enough about the weather. We've done a lot of that. Now it's time to get back to the matchup. It's no secret, after 3 straight weeks of success, that Mason Rudolph once again will be leading the Steelers offense tomorrow afternoon at 4:30. The quarterback rating stat was created to take into account all aspects of passer rating, game, and Rudolph has certainly shined in his 3 starts. He's the first Steelers quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger 10 years ago to rate higher than 112 in 3 straight starts. That brings us to our quarterback analysis, which is presented by Cleveland Brothers. Our quarterback Charlie here is talking about Mason Rudolph's done a really nice job of limiting turnovers. You think that's one reason why he's been so good about this? He looks at one-on-one matchups, but if they're not there, then he goes to the appropriate check down.
Yes, he does. And anytime that you're going out there, you want to take what the defense gives you. And Mason is doing exactly that. But also being strategic when you take those shots down the field. He's doing a really good job of that. 3 touchdown passes over 60 yards, which is second in the NFL in this short 3-game span that he was in. So you know he's looking to push the ball down the field, which gets receivers excited and allows them to get open. And anytime you go 18 to 20 in the game and pouring down rain, man, you are doing exactly what you need to do. Hats off to Mason Rudolph.
That was his overall rating is 118. One rookie that will need to be on his best game today is Joey Porter Jr., who has been pretty important to the Steelers' defensive success down the stretch. Missy Matthews sat down with the Joe Green Great Performance Award winner.
Lamar in the gun. There's the snap. He throws a pass for the end zone. Intercepted! Joey Porter Jr. took it away from the Baltimore receiver. How about that? You got ghosts of Steelers. Great pass.
Joey, how long ago does it feel that you were at St. Vincent College, training camp, and going against George Pickens every day?
It feels like it was actually pretty fast. It's like a blink. Just so much has happened in the past couple months. It's just like crazy.
Did you learn anything about yourself?
I learned I could do this. Like, you know, you always have second guesses when you're coming into the league just because you never know how it's going to go. But throughout the season, I really figured out, like, I told myself, yeah, I could do this sport. Like, I fell in love with the sport at a young age, and I feel like I could continue to do it at this age.
Joey Porter Jr. made sure that was not a touchdown.
What is the back and forth like between you and Coach Tomlin when you say, all right, the opposing team, I want their #1 wide receiver?
He was like, is that even a question? Like, at this point, he was like, that's not even a question. You already know what the assignment is. And the first time was Hopkins, and he was like, yeah, I gotta sleep on that. Like, I'll come back to you tomorrow and everything like that. And luckily, he gave me that heads up and that nod. So we just have that good relationship where he knows what I want, I know what he wants, and we're just gonna keep working.
What did he tell you about Stefon Diggs?
He's a savvy vet. You know, he's a great route runner. He's been in the league for a long time and been doing great things. Things that I already knew, just being a fan of the game, watching how Stefon's been playing throughout the years, you kind of get those things. So I'm really excited. You know, it's another guy on the list that I get to go against and put him on the list. That's what I usually say. So it's going to be a fun matchup.
Do you sit back at all and just kind of take in this experience that some people don't always get to enjoy making it this far?
It's a good problem to have. That my dad liked to say, you know, your body's tired, you're drained and everything, but I'm more excited than anything. My rookie year, I'm in the playoffs. I'm going against a great opponent next to me that's really going to put my game to the test. So, I mean, I can't really complain about this whole situation, really.
Hey, we're just getting started here on Steelers Kickoff. After the break, we're going to take a look at how this team is going to replace T.J. Watt in that starting lineup Monday at 4:30. That's next.
Welcome back to BetMGM Steelers Kickoff.
Bordas has been donating $500 for each Steelers sack, and that's a big part of the sacks campaign. 57 of them, enough for $28,500 in that contribution. Thank you, Bordas. And T.J. Watt obviously played a large part in beefing up that donation, but unfortunately he won't be out there tomorrow afternoon in Buffalo. Charlie, how much will his absence affect them, and do you feel good about the combination of Herbeck and Golden as a replacement?
Yeah, anytime you're losing that player is going to affect you, but I think ultimately when you're talking about the pass game, there's not going to be much of a pass rush because these guys can't gain the grip and get to the quarterback in the manner that they need. But These guys now need to figure out how they can fill the void in the running game. Marcus Gold, Nick Herbert, they have to do a better job of showing up consistently at this particular point, only because we haven't had to see it on a consistent basis. So I'm looking forward to seeing what these two guys bring to the equation.
All right, Rich is standing by. Earlier in the week, he was able to speak one-on-one with a defensive leader who's coordinating this game plan in the wild card matchup. Rich?
All right, Bob, we all know Mike Tomlin loves versatility, and Patrick Peterson has proved to be one of the biggest and most versatile players on the team, an elite corner at one time, now making the transition to a safety at a very important time for the Steelers. Plus, he's a great player to have in that locker room. Now, I had a chance to have a conversation with Peterson after practice this week. So, Pat, one of the first questions I'm going to ask you, is this the reason why you came to Pittsburgh, to be able to play this time of year?
No doubt about it. I mean, the franchise over the years, the history that it has, it speaks for itself. But have an opportunity to play in the second half of the season, the postseason, this is why you come here. And this team has a lot of history of being in the postseason.
What is it about the Steelers and Mike Tomlin that, you wanted to come to this team?
Man, you just know from the outside looking in, his team always had a shot of being there, always in position to have a shot to play in the postseason or earn the right to play in the postseason. And, Coach, obviously him never having a losing record speak for itself.
So one of the best corners to ever play the game. Now you're playing safety a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you like that transition?
I do, man. I really do, because it gives me an opportunity to be more involved in the game. To me, it heightens my my anticipation of coming to work, because I know it's going to be something different for me.
It feels like, the last 3 weeks, something special has been going on. What is it about the transition of this team right now?
Man, our lives on the line, I guess. And that's what I love the most about this team, is when it gets thick, guys really, really show their true character and how much they really love the game, and how much they're willing to do and give back to the players and the coaches to get that end result that we're looking for.
Well, the Steelers secondary is one of the best units in football, and Peterson is a big reason why. And think about this, they've done it with guys like Minka, Keanu Neal, DeMonte Casey missing numerous games. They rank 6th in points allowed and pass TDs, 8th in turnovers forced, and 9th in first downs. Tomorrow's game, they're just about full strength, and they will need to be against Josh Allen and company. And I really like a guy like Peterson being able to roam free out there against Allen. I think he could possibly be the difference for the Steelers defense.
All right. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate that. There are going to be a lot of keys to this game. One, of course, the weather. We'll keep following it. We have a live shot from Highmark Stadium. Jerome Williams is there, and that stadium is somewhere out there. But it is coming down over a foot so far. They're expecting another foot by tomorrow night. We have more coming up next, including a preview of the Bills. Don't go away.
BetMGM Steelers Kickoff is presented in part by your Western PA Chevy dealers.
The goal is always the same.
Steelers Super Bowl champions. Confetti's all in the air.
Steeler front four was just ferocious.
That's what we live for.
The path to get there, now that's a different story.
Let's go, Steelers! You gotta be kidding me!
Sometimes you dominate the world.
This could be the best football team in history.
Other times, you're looking to shock it. We did.
I don't care who we play. The Pittsburgh Steelers did it the hard way.
And we can do it again.
Great googly moogly.
Don't give up on the Steelers.
That's what we do.
The road ahead is narrow.
Running right up the gut. It's our time.
Now, we ride.
We want to be a group on the rise.
Show the champions you are right here.
We had to be in an effort to be in the tournament.
The game breaker.
The journey begins now.
Always good to get Joey Porter, the original, in one of those hype videos. Thanks very much to Steelers TV. Well, Rich is going to be braving the elements outside of Highmark Stadium tomorrow, but before he shuffles off to Buffalo today, got to look at the Bills, who've done really good work in their current 5-game win streak. Rich?
All right, Bob, I'm headed to Buffalo shortly after the show is over, and bad weather or not, I know how tough it is to play in that stadium, especially if the Bills are clicking. But they weren't clicking all year, only up until they had to be, which has been the last 5 games. Last week in Miami, the Bills' offensive firepower was on full display. They racked up over 470 total yards, nearly 350 of those
through the air, which keyed their comeback victory. But that was in near perfect weather for passing, and today's weather is much different. But even if Josh Allen can't throw downfield, they still have the ability to run the ball. As a team, they rank 7th in the league in rushing yards, and they do have a working knowledge of playing games in the snow belt.
We've been through a lot of games here where we've had to, no pun intended, weather the storm.
You know, typically it's going to be, with weather like this, a game that both teams are going to run the ball, and it's going to be very possession limited.
And that's what might play in the Steelers' favor. If there's a weakness in the Bills' game, it's stopping the run. Despite ranking in the top 5 in points allowed, they've given up over 110 yards rushing per game, putting them in the bottom half of the league. So expect Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren to see a lot of touches today. Finally, both teams are riding winning streaks coming into this game. The Steelers have won 3 straight, and they hope that playoff mentality serves them well here in Buffalo.
There have been some hot moments over the last 3 weeks. We've essentially kind of been in the playoffs. We've known that. That's been something that's been the elephant in the room that we've talked about, and hopefully that experience shows.
Well, tomorrow is only the 4th meeting between these two teams in the postseason. The Steelers are 2-1 against the Bills, winning the last one in '96, also winning in '74. The Bills beat the Steelers in '93, 24-3. And maybe the most interesting stat, all 3 times they faced in the postseason, the winner of this matchup has gone on to the Super Bowl.
All right, Rich, thanks very much. When we come back, we'll tell you who's in and who's out. That's next.
Welcome back to BetMGM Steelers Kickoff.
All right, welcome back. The inactive list is pretty short for the Steelers. TJ Watt was the only Steeler with an injury designation coming into this matchup. He's out. Meanwhile, for the Bills, star wideout Gabe Davis and safety Taylor Rapp both ruled out on Friday. And corner Rasul Douglas, along with linebacker Terrell Dodson, both questionable. We'll see if their status changes before game time tomorrow. Charlie, one name we don't see on that list for the first time in a long time is Minkah Fitzpatrick. He'll return from injury tomorrow afternoon. How big of an impact will this be, especially knowing that this is going to be a run-heavy game, and he's pretty active in that department.
Yeah, and when you lose one star in T.J. Watt and then you gain Minkah Fitzpatrick, it definitely brings a different element, only because they're now able to now mix up coverages on the backside. And if you add the addition of DeMonte KZ, now they can get back to doing some of those exotic coverages that they've been doing prior to the Minkah injury.
All right, we're going to give you another look at Highmark Stadium, but the weather's so bad and the snow's so heavy that it knocked our live shot with Jerome Williams out for now, so we can't even show you that. But trust me, you can't see anything anyway. We'll be back with predictions. It's next right here on BetMGM Steelers Kickoff.
BetMGM Steelers Kickoff is presented in part by your Western PA Chevy dealers.
We've already seen Kansas City win their game against Miami. We've seen Cleveland eliminated by Houston. So if the Steelers do win, they'll be headed to Baltimore. If they lose, it'll be the Texans to Baltimore. So that's what we know so far. Now it's time for predictions. What do we expect in this game? Rich, we'll start with you.
Well, I picked the Steelers the last 3 weeks, and I think the worse the conditions are, the better the chances for the Steelers to actually win this game, pull off an upset. But the reason I'm picking Buffalo in this game, 20-13, I know you guys out there don't like that, 20-13 Buffalo, is because it's in Buffalo. They know how to play up there. They got the fan support, and the Steelers do not have their most impactful player, T.J. Watt.
All right, Charlie, your turn.
I think if anybody followed me over the last 3 weeks, they knew that I was doing reverse psychology, right?
Sometimes you have to.
Yeah, you have to. But now that this is the new season, as we get to the postseason, man, I really do feel, based off the weather elements that are happening, the Steelers are able to control the line of scrimmage, and they come up with a key turnover, able to turn that into points. The Steelers steal this game 17-16. I expect to see them next week in Baltimore.
Well, Buffalo has been prone to mistakes, Gerry Dulac. What's your take on this one?
You know, Buffalo's the hottest team in the NFL, Bob. They've won their last 5 games. 3 of those are against 2023 playoff teams. Josh Allen has never lost a home playoff game. He is 4-0 at Highmark Stadium. And even though the Steelers are playing their best football of the season right now, I expect that winless playoff drought to stretch to 7 years. I like the Bills 24-17.
I see a couple of missed extra points along the way. Kicking will be a problem for both teams. And I somehow think the Steelers are on a little bit of a roll, and they'll take advantage of some Buffalo mistakes. So that's how I see it. That's how we see it. And we'll be seeing what happens tomorrow, and it will be a snow globe kind of game in Orchard Park where the snow continues to fall. This is our Monday lineup for you now on KDKA. We'll begin with a special edition of the news from 3 to 3:30. Rich will be in Buffalo. I'll be here. We'll have a lot of takes in that half hour leading up to the NFL Today on CBS. That's 2 days of that now. And then, of course, at 4:30, Steelers and Bills will play. And then afterwards, join us for the Extra Point. That'll be on KDKA Plus, followed by primetime news on KDKA Plus. So that's going to do it for us. We expect it to be an interesting game for sure. Again, tentatively, right now, still on 4:30 tomorrow. We'll see what happens with the snow continuing to fall in Buffalo, New York. Thanks for joining us today. For Rich Walsh, Charlie Batch, Gerry Dulac, I'm Bob Pompeani. Have a good Steelers game day without the game until tomorrow, but there are some great actions. We'll have the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown coming up tonight at 11:35 on KDKA as well. Join us for that, and have a great Sunday.